Well, let's get some more on this topic now with Stephen Millard, who is the Deputy Director of Macroeconomic Modelling and Forecasting at the National Institute of Economic and Social Research. Thank you so much for being with us, Stephen. So we had a clear sense of it in those two last reports, but how widely would you characterise it, the effects of the disruption at the Strait of Hormuz, and how long do you think it could take for things to get back to normal, if that is even possible?
Well, as your previous two reporters said, the effects are very widespread indeed. I mean, where it's most noticeable, of course, in the price of petrol, the price of gas and electricity, and, of course, food. And fertilizers was mentioned by your correspondent. These effects are likely to be locked in for a while, and even with the Strait of Hormuz beginning to get back to normal, it is going to take a good few months until everything is sort of coming back down again. So, yeah, we're in for higher prices for a while.
And what about central banks? How are they positioning themselves? And could policymakers be forced to delay further interest rate cuts or even raise them again, you know, despite really serious concerns about slowing economic growth?
Yeah, so before the war started, we were expecting all central banks pretty much to cut their rates over the course of 2026. Since then, actually, we've seen a rise in rates from the ECB. We now expect both the Fed and the Bank of England to hold rates throughout this year on account of the higher prices. But having said that, with things beginning to return to normal and a peace process in place, then maybe we might see central banks start cutting rates early next year.
And how can economies build greater resilience for the future against these kind of geopolitical shocks like this one? I mean, no one had really particularly heard of the Strait of Hormuz, or not generally before this, but it's been such a pinch point. I mean, how can resilience be built so this does not happen again?
Well, I mean, in terms of energy specifically, and that I guess is the biggest issue with the Strait of Hormuz, then the answer is to speed up and intensify the green transition. The less we're reliant upon fossil fuels, the less we will be reliant on the Strait of Hormuz being opened. More generally, of course, your correspondent again mentioned a whole ton of supply chains where the supply of various things, fertilizers, helium, hydrogen, come through the Strait of Hormuz. The answer is to look for alternative sources of supply and to think about reshoring supply chains, sort of making supply chains a little bit more local and a little bit less open to geopolitical events such as this one.
All right, Stephen Millard, Deputy Director of Macroeconomic Modelling and Forecasting at the National Institute of Economic and Social Research. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you.